Good morning. It is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, and coming to you from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamb Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
I know, right? These guys. I mean, and so for those of you who don't know the studio, it's only 4 people. It's just, they're just really good at it.
Sure. They make themselves sound loud.
And 2 dogs. We're streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage, lambsports.com, and you can find links to the past shows and the current trivia question on the website. We got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs because, playoffs. Yeah. We're talking about the super wild card weekend. Why it's so super, I don't know. And this week is not super divisional. It is just divisional.
The superness is gone.
The super is gone. Yeah, now the luster's off.
It wears off week to week.
And then we're going to talk about the upcoming divisional round, right? The wild card weekend, the divisional round, our predictions for who's going to be in the AFC and NFC championship games. We got our trivia question always, and then we got some news and notes things we're going to talk about, some NFL stuff, some Novak Djokovic, Oregon Ducks men's basketball team. Anyway, just some things. So our first segment of the show is brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number, 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamb Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So let's go to scores. I'm going to pause this so people aren't distracted because that's kind of important.
There's a lot going on.
Straight from NFL.com. Scores from the Super Wild Card weekend. So the first game was Saturday, and it was a good football game. The Raiders Bengals. And as you see the note there under the score, this first playoff game in NFL history where each team had 4+ made field goals, mostly because they couldn't score. But
pretty impressive.
But it's kind of impressive. So Bengals win 26-19 at home. Their first playoff win in 30-something years, 31 years, 30 years. Was it 91 or 90? I can't remember.
Yeah, they're really happy about that.
It's been a while. They've been celebrating like it's a big deal. Although I would tell you the Raiders not only were lucky to be in the playoffs, they're extremely lucky to be the number 5 seed in the playoffs. I mean,
they just kind of fell backwards into that.
Yeah. That's a team that went through a lot of interesting things. I mean, the games were interesting. Almost every Raiders game was interesting to watch. And
they weren't exactly winning games outright, blowing people out like Kansas City. So it was kind of a fun season to watch for them.
Yeah.
Even if I hate the Raiders.
Yeah.
A little biased over here. But
I mean, we aren't telling anybody. We aren't saying. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, there was the officiating crew was not very good in the whole game. They made a number of mistakes, but probably none were bigger than the whistle, the inadvertent whistle during the middle of the touchdown pass from Joe Burrow. We're gonna play that right now, and I want you to watch it again and just so everyone can see it. We can see what happened on that play, so everyone can get a good look at it. And here's Joe Burrow scrambling to his right. And listen for the whistle. It's just before the Raiders guy catches it in the end zone.
Tries to keep it alive. Scrambles. Throws it back in the end zone. But was he out of bounds first or is it a touchdown? I think he was out of bounds. They're discussing it. Caught in the back by Boyd. Conversation on the sideline here for the moment. No signal yet. Jerome Boger, the referee, is over here on the sideline.
So you can see it and you can hear it and you can clearly tell that it was before the catch. Am I wrong?
Before the catch.
It was before the catch.
No.
Okay. The NFL immediately said the referees said afterwards that they got together and decided that it was not didn't hurt the play. So it's okay. And then the NFL says, well, the whistle came after the catch, which it clearly doesn't.
It does not, yeah.
And
then
then
lying to y'all.
And then the NFL says, yeah, but those referees aren't going to referee anymore this playoffs. And I'm like, okay, so if they didn't do anything wrong, why are you punishing them? But so one of those statements was not true. And it was the fact that whistle was not, that was after the catch, because it was clearly before. And the rulebook says, NFL rulebook says, if you blow the whistle, it's an inadvertent whistle, the play is dead. Because you're trained to stop at the whistle. That's the whole point of everything.
Right.
That's why you have a whistle.
So who knows what type of competitive advantage you have over other people if you're playing through a whistle and they're not.
Right. And that's how guys get hurt. Because if one guy stops and another guy hits him, now you got a defenseless guy because you blew the whistle.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm not sure it really was in effect. It wasn't really an effect on that play, and it probably wasn't an effect didn't have an effect on the whole game itself. Raiders just didn't play very well offensively.
No. Yeah, they couldn't get it going, but they kept Marcus on the bench. So that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to save him. He's trade bait for next year.
They're just riding that Derek Carr train until the wheels fall off, and they're already on spares.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I have no clue why they're still doing this.
Half of them are gone. Yeah, so then there was the other Saturday game that New England went to Buffalo and played the rubber match in that game. Buffalo, New England played already twice. And what an ugly football game if you're a Patriots fan. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Josh Allen looked like the best quarterback in NFL history in that game.
He looked fantastic. He was better in that game than Tom Brady ever looked in.
He is running. He is throwing. I mean, 5 touchdown passes. Ridiculous. And it just looked like he could do no wrong. The Bills, every time the Patriots would turn the ball over, the Bills 2 or 3 plays and they're in the end zone. I was like, this is dumb. It's getting dumber. So
their first touchdown was inadvertent, apparently, according to the tight end Knox. He said that or what's it called? Josh Allen came out and said that he was just throwing the ball away, and Knox saw it coming and goes, "I can get that."
That one where he's leaning back, catching it.
Yeah, jumping up at the back corner of the end zone.
Yeah,
and you can see it too because Josh Allen hucks it and immediately looks at the ground like, "All right, it's going out of bounds."
Yeah, and he threw 2 or 3 passes in the game. 2 or 3 of his touchdown passes were little lobs, just to somebody who's wide open. I mean, I could have thrown those passes.
But yeah, the Patriots defense did not look stellar.
No, they were bad.
Which is their hallmark. It was their defining characteristic all year was that their offense was efficient and their defense was exceeded expectations.
And let's be honest, we thought, I mean, I did for sure, that about 4 weeks ago, Patriots were the hottest team in football, and they looked like they could beat anybody at any given time. And this game, they didn't look like they could beat anybody. So I don't know, it's pretty bad. Yeah. Of course, they also lost to the Dolphins on the last game of the season, so.
It's true.
They've lost 2 in a row. 2 in a row. Yeah, 2 both division games too. Anyway, Sunday, Eagles Buccaneers. That was an ugly game too. Philadelphia looked, discombobulated for the whole first half, at least, maybe 3 quarters even. It was late before they scored, and it was just, I mean, I wanted them to compete and do well, just because they hadn't been in a while, and I don't like Tampa Bay. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it wasn't. It was just ugly, and it was all Buccaneers and Tom Brady. And you know what I don't like about Tom Brady? I'll tell you. One more thing. One thing I don't like about there's a lot of things I don't like, but I'll tell you. He is a chirper at
Big
people when he thinks it's appropriate. He doesn't do it all the time. He's not that trash talker all the time, at least as far as you can tell. But he
gets into it at moments.
He trash talks when there's no way you could say something back. You know what I mean? He's like he's a cheap shot.
Trash talk?
Well, he's a cheap shot guy. Well, no, I mean, you can trash talk the whole. Guys are trash talking in the first quarter. When there's 3 quarters left of the game, you're going to lose by 40. They're still trash. He doesn't do that. He waits until this is the dagger, and then he trash talks. And I don't like that because it's just one of those, there's no need to trash talk at that point. You've already won the game.
He's always been pretty tame. They're calling this Tampa trip his revenge tour because he's no longer being as nice as he was, and that's what all like the defensive players are saying is that he's getting in people's faces and stuff like that. So I don't know. I kind of dig that little competitive edge, and you can't talk unless you can back it up. So just show them and then talk. I guess that's his logic.
Yeah, I would just tell you it's a lot easier to trash talk when you're a quarterback because they can't touch you low and they can't touch you high, and clearly you can't you can't make a fumble because of the tuck rule that's Tom Brady's, and there's all kinds
they
of
don't
things,
enforce anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. But anyway, Buccaneers win 31-15. They're moving on. They're going to get a home playoff game. So, Sunday, second game, Niners-Cowboys. Wow. The Cowboys looked bad in this game.
So weird. It was a weird game.
Yeah, and the Niners just looked like they owned them pretty much the whole game until the end, right? Until the very end.
Climb back into it.
They let them get back in it, and the Cowboys had the ball at the end of the game with a chance to go down and tie something. We're going to play that last play here for you. This is the last play from the Cowboys-Niners game. 23-17 San Francisco. There's 14 seconds left. Here you go. This is courtesy of CBS.
The game's over. They keep it in bounds. Dak has to get this out of bounds or he's taking a shot to the end zone. This is scary because I would take a shot to the end zone here when they're in the sideline defense because you actually can hold on to the ball. You need someone, San Francisco, to get to the quarterback here.
Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa, I don't think this is going to work out.
Well, they'll be able to clock this. They were planning for it. It's down. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, the official gets in the way. The game's over.
Gosh.
The game is over.
Oh, he did.
So, first of all, let me just say, I love Tony Romo. He could do every game, and I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best in the business right now.
As a quarterback, not so much, but
he was a really good quarterback. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah, but as an analyst, oh my gosh, I just love everything. Anyway,
they mentioned it that he got injured 4 times in the postseason.
Yeah, well,
that's pretty crazy.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah, they didn't win very many postseason games with
Tony. He would get hurt and then he would lose.
With Tony at quarterback. Anyway, that was a wild finish, but calling the running play with 14 seconds left and no timeouts was bold. If you're going to run it, you need to slide 4 yards, 5 yards sooner, right? So you can spike to give yourself enough time to spike the ball. Because that length of the run, when there was 4 seconds left when they got up there, but he needed to turn and hand the ball to the referee, and he didn't because the referee has to touch it.
Yeah, he left the ball on the ground.
And then the referee grabs it and moves it. I think there was that move. If he didn't move it, if he just touched it and said, "Okay, it's down," he moved it like a half yard back.
Well, he's got to spot it.
I know, I know, but it was like it was like that intentional. This is just enough to end the game.
It was unfortunate for Cowboys fans, but kudos to the 49ers guy for getting on top of Dak for a second.
Yeah,
that burned 2-3 seconds tops. And then unfortunately, Dak was not paying attention. He was heads down. He did not realize that he should have given the ball to the official, which as a seasoned professional, you'd think he would have. And he didn't realize he should get the hell out of the way while he's setting it.
Yeah, and he got knocked over by the referee trying to get to the ball.
The referee was hauling ass and doing his job the best he could.
Yeah.
And Dak was making it difficult on him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not the right ending for if you're a Cowboys fan. But it was the right, it ended the way it was supposed to end. The referee needed to touch the football. You has to set it. And had he just turned and handed it to the referee, that they probably would have had a second, and it could have snapped it. But anyway, it is what it is, and that's if you play that badly the whole game, that's kind of what you deserve. So at that point, so the Niners as the 6th seed, they're moving on, which is incredible. I think the Niners are a dangerous football team when their defense is playing like they played on Sunday.
Yeah, but Jimmy G's harboring more injuries.
Yeah, Jimmy G's always injured.
Guy's got more injuries. It's not good.
Trey Lance, man. It's going to be Trey Lance.
I guess so.
Maybe.
Trey Lance's first playoff win coming up soon.
Big Ben's last playoff game was the final one on Sunday night, and that was kind of really anticlimactic. The Chiefs were all over the Steelers, and so Travis,
unfortunately, but I don't know what anybody expected.
No, I don't know what the Steelers were also lucky to be in the playoffs. So, I don't know. They didn't play well all year, and so they specifically didn't play well in this game, and it was never really in doubt. You could just tell Kansas City got the ball and got rolling. Patrick Mahomes makes some incredible plays and throws that are just ridiculous. Like in the air, he jumps in the air or jumps sideways or throws the ball around someone. I literally think he throws a curveball sometimes that goes around people. Well, his dad was a pitcher. So, but Travis Kelce, see that little note there? Travis Kelce, first player in NFL history with a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, 100 receiving yards in a playoff game.
Classic
Travis Kelce. Might be the
I
best.
like Travis Kelce. Did you hear his mom called into the press conference?
No.
So he's doing the press conference and his mom calls. Like they have like a line, I guess. And his mom is like, it's a whole tearjerker moment. His mom's telling him how proud she is because he always said he was going to throw a touchdown in the NFL because he played quarterback in middle school and high school. He always said he was going to throw a touchdown in the NFL, throw a touchdown in the NFL, and he finally did it. It was a real sappy moment, but it was funny because his mom's just on the line.
That's great.
And all the reporter pit's just laughing at it.
That's funny. That's great though. I mean, I would have taken that call too. Right?
Yeah. I gotta hold on.
You guys gotta wait. This is my mother. And then the Monday night game, also a snoozer. I mean, not really. It was exciting to watch. It just was bad if you're a Cardinals fan. The Rams win 34-11, and Kyler Murray was ugly. He played ugly in this football game. And,
uglier than Jalen Hurts played.
Yeah, and here's my question. If you didn't watch the game, Kyler Murray did not run the football. I don't understand. I kept watching it going, okay,
those edge rushers that they have of Von Miller and Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, it's not going to be easy to run the ball.
Yeah, but you would have think at some point in time they would have just called a draw. You know what I mean?
Or something to open it up.
Yeah,
a little bit.
quarterback draw and just run up the middle as they come around the outside. But he never did. He never, even when he had time to run and he was escaping on the outside, he threw the football and he threw it poorly.
Yeah.
It was just ugly. And then that one pass where he's being tackled, I mean, it was going to be a safety if he didn't get rid of it anyway. But
instead it ended up being 6.
But instead he gave up 5 more points by throwing it as he's falling down. And there was a receiver there. Give him credit. He saw the receiver, but he just couldn't do anything. And that was kind of summed up the whole game, that one play.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
It was pretty brutal. So Cardinals are out, but they were the 5 seed too. They've struggled the whole last 6-7 games of the season. They were, this team was 10-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so finished 11-6 and then lost their playoffs. So they finished 1-5 in their last 6 games. Ooh.
I can't remember the stat exactly, but they said they were the first team in history to have 8 wins and lose 8 road games.
No, to win 8 road games. Hold on.
They won 8 road games?
Yeah,
they lost.
No, they won all their road games. They were 3-5 at home.
Oh, okay.
3-6 at home or whatever it was. 3-5. No, 3-6. I don't know. Shit. Anyway, they were 3-something at home. Anyway, they're 8-0 on the road, and they were the first team to go 8-0 on the road and play their playoff game on the road. Because
that's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, because if you go 8-0 on the road, obviously you're going to win some home games. You're going to be a number 1 seed or a 2 seed.
That division's just that good.
Yeah, they just if you can't win at home, that's a thing too. So anyway, but Cardinals are out. Rams are moving on. So that brings us to the divisional round, right? And divisional playoffs. Here they are. This is on NFL.com if you want to see it. Saturday, 2 games. Bengals Titans on CBS at 1:30. That's Pacific time. Everything's Pacific time, by the way, in case you guys didn't, you guys on the East Coast, you guys have to figure it out. I'll let you do the math. And then game 2 is San Francisco at Green Bay, 5:15 on Fox. Really looking forward to that game.
It should be a good one.
Packers have this tendency to lose playoff games at home. So I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers is good, so who knows? This will be a good one. This will be a good test if San Francisco's defensive line gets pressure on him and see how good he really is.
Yeah.
Sunday, 2 games. Rams at Buccaneers. That's at noon on NBC. And then the 3:30 game is Bills Chiefs. That's CBS. That's probably Tony Romo if you want to listen. I'm guessing that will be the Tony Romo game.
Yeah, Bills Chiefs.
Bills Chiefs, because that's going to be a good football game too.
Should be. Last year's one was pretty good.
Yeah, that's going to be if Buffalo plays like they did last week or this last weekend, it's going to be a really good football game. That's what I'm worried about is that Buffalo will come out and lay an egg after scoring 47 points.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like so who have you got of these games? Who's going to move on? Who will be in the AFC Championship game?
Well, I think the Titans are going to take care of business, but I think they're most at risk of an upset. Just because they have a lot of time off. They are going to break in Derrick Henry again. I feel like it's ripe for that. They've been off the radar for a while, and they might pop back on and immediately go back off. So I feel like they're most at risk, but I have the Titans winning. I think Green Bay goes through because I think Aaron Rodgers is having maybe one of his best seasons. Then I'm going to go with the wishful upset of the Rams. I think the Rams are going to beat the Buccaneers. I think all they needed was Matt Stafford. And then I think the Chiefs are still going to beat the Bills, unfortunately. As much as I want the Bills to go through, I think Bills like Packers would be a great matchup. I think that the Bills are going to let us down, and the Chiefs are going to go through.
Okay. I would say that because of what you said, Derrick Henry being, I want to say he's questionable. He's going to play.
Yeah.
But is he healthy? When you come back,
Russell Wilson healthy,
or in Russell, right? Or is he going to be rusty? Yeah. Or is he? I mean, a rusty running back, I would take over a rusty quarterback. I'll tell you that much.
Agreed.
Because all he's got to do is grab it and run. But if he can't run, that makes it hard. Anyway, I agree.
Being fair, they were doing fine without him.
It's true. I feel like the Bengals have this momentum. They feel like they can win. I'm going to pick the Bengals over the Titans, in a close one. The Niners will win if they can sack Aaron Rodgers 3 times. That's my prediction. 3 times. You got to get
Aaron Rodgers 3 times.
Yep, you got to sack him 3 times. Otherwise, Packers win fairly easily. San Francisco has to get pressure. They've got to get sacks, and they've got to make it count. So they got to get home because just getting pressure on him isn't enough because he'll escape and make a play. So you got to get sacks. 3 is the number. That's just what I feel. But I feel like the Packers are going to win. How about that?
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rams, Buccaneers. I'm taking the Rams.
Yep.
The Rams kind of have it all, I think. I think they are right, and I don't think the Buccaneers are playing as well as they could. They played a Philly team that just played poorly, too. So, they looked good, but it was Philly.
Yeah,
so,
that's Philly. We don't need to worry about that.
Right. And then the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Bills the same way. I think that the Bills, just having played a great game against, got hyped up against New England because it's their division rival, and they just whooped them, and now they're for a letdown. And the Chiefs are ready. So, you've got Titans, Chiefs.
I do.
Packers, Rams.
Yep.
I'm going to take Bengals, Chiefs, and Packers, Rams. And so that's interesting. And then if you want an AFC Championship prediction from me, just quickly, I'm going to tell you that the Chiefs are going to destroy the Bengals. I mean,
yes,
it won't
if the Chiefs play the Bengals, it doesn't matter which of these teams, Titans or Bengals.
Yeah.
Chiefs are going to destroy them.
I think so.
I think their hardest opponent is this week.
The Chiefs were what, 3-3 or 4-4? 3-4? I think they were 3-4 to start the season. Yeah. And so they're 9-1 plus the playoff win. Now they're 10-1 since then. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And they've been playing like better than last year at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I think. I don't know if it's true, but hey, that's what we're doing. All right. So hold on, I better write this down. Your prediction. So I'm gonna write yours is gonna be Green Bay versus the Rams. So is mine. And then you're gonna say Tennessee at home against Kansas City. And
Does this still keep my year-end prediction intact?
Yes, and I say Cincinnati at Kansas City.
Because I know I picked the Chiefs to win it all.
You did pick the Chiefs to win.
I can't remember who they were playing.
Oh, that.
Yeah. I think it was Tampa. I think I was just like, it's probably going to be in Tampa.
I think that's what you said. Mine was Chiefs Rams.
Oh, nice.
So it's still in there.
So, yeah. So all of ours could still happen.
Right. Right. And we have San Francisco. Or you have, I'm sorry, it's Green. Hold on. It's Tampa.
No.
It's not Tampa. We both said the Rams.
We both said the Rams.
Okay, perfect. Got it. It's all written down. It's in stone right now. It's right here. So we'll see. We're never very good at those predictions, but we're going to try. All right. So playoffs Saturday and Sunday. CBS and Fox, NBC. I don't know why they do that. Why the NFC gets divided up and the AFC is always on CBS. Is
money
confusing to me. Oh, it's got to be. It's spreading some money around, but the AFC games aren't ever split. Doesn't seem like they're always on CBS.
Man, I hate CBS.
Well, Tony Romo's on CBS. Is the only redeeming quality.
That's true.
Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. Yeah, without a doubt, those are two. That's a good combo. They could be on any channel, but they just happen to be on CBS.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move second half of the show because we're moving along. We're doing actually pretty well. I'm kind of excited.
I'm not filling it with fluffy talk.
Well, no, we're not. We got some fluffy talk to talk about second half of the show, so that's what we're going to do. Second half of the show brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune in to BossKittyLive.com for knit-alongs, exclusive sales, games, fun, and you can meet new fiber friends. It's all free. If you just click on it, interactive, free, There was the commercial for it right there. If you see it, go to the website. You'll find it. You can go on BossKittyShop.com and get your DK fingering weight yarns as well as Stitch and Progress markers. If you're looking for a gift, you can get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card and let them pick it out themselves. It's Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. Okay, so second half of the show, we're going to talk about some stuff. Let me get this up. There's football, but we don't really need to talk about the football anymore. So that's what we're gonna talk about. I'm not doing that. So now I just have to get to what it is we were going to talk about, which isn't working at the moment.
It happens.
I'm gonna have to cycle through all the pictures to get to what I wanted to get to.
So
let's talk
difficulties.
Let's talk about referees for just a minute.
All right.
NFL officials, right? They seem to be. They seem to have a hard time getting it right. We've got instant replay, and part of the problem is that the NFL limits, and the NFLPA, for that matter, too, they're involved in this whole process, but they're trying to limit what gets reviewed so that the game isn't 6 hours. But in reality, you've got these opportunities to make calls that are right or overturn calls that are wrong, more importantly, right, to get the call right, and they're not doing that. I mean, the things you want to see reviewed, penalties, pass interference penalties, or that's not reviewable. And do you think that they'll ever change it to make more stuff reviewable, or do you think they'll just kind of still rely on the human aspect of it, which I'm not super opposed to? If you're going to do that, then go all the way back to nothing, no review. But how do you feel they're going to move forward? Can they? I mean, because things like the inadvertent whistle, everyone in the world can see it and hear it, and then the NFL makes a statement like, "Oh, that didn't happen." Yeah, it did. They need to fix that, and just calls in general that are wrong. How do they fix it? Is my question.
Well, I think you don't. I think this is the perfect system. You have a ton of deniability in the system. You can let referees screw up, mismanage games, or fix games if you want to go conspiracy theory, and then you can blame it on them and say they're not gonna officiate the postseason anymore, but they didn't do anything wrong. Like having somebody to point a finger at is really, really nice. When it's on camera, it should be blatant, and that's why them getting the whistle wrong because they didn't go review it is such an interesting thing, because it's clear that the whistle was before the thing, but they didn't go look at it. But that allows them to keep the decisions on the field, keep the anger at the refs and not at the league. And that's kind of what they want. Although I will say, Jerome, is it Boger? Is it Boger?
Yeah.
I can't stand him. The man does not communicate well. He's always in the wrong place. You see how many times he got bumped into by players because he's trying to make the call from like the middle of their huddle?
Yeah.
I didn't understand. He has. Right. And they're in good shape. These refs are in pretty darn good shape, but I feel like there are some that are getting past their prime, and I feel like you got to realize that before there's an issue.
Right.
And they're not that great at it, but that's because they have their own referees union and things like that.
That's part of it.
So you can't fire them unless you got a good reason and stuff like that. So.
And I thought we made them permanent employees. Did they not? Was that not a thing? Didn't they do that like last year?
They made them full-time employees.
Full-time employees, right? Well, I mean that's what I'm saying. They're
no
longer contractors, right?
Well, they're still. I mean, I think they are still contracted because they're in a union.
Well,
I don't know many people that are in a union that aren't under a contract.
Well, I mean,
of some sort.
What I mean by a contractor is you're contracted to work so many games. You're not You're not an employee. You're a contractor. There's a difference between being an employee and we have to provide you with benefits and overtime and that kind of stuff, or a contractor where if it's not in the contract, you don't get it, which is the NFLPA is, right?
Yeah,
technically.
I think that's what they are. I think that they're contract employees who are asked to do X amount of things and are guaranteed X amount of things, and the NFL can't really budge on those,
right?
Unless they do an absolute piss poor job and have cause. So, but I don't know how many more games. I know with the playoffs, you're not guaranteed week to week.
Right.
Like you don't have that ability to just say, "Oh, I'm contracted for 4 playoff games." Like, no, we're gonna bless you by giving you one.
Yeah,
if you do well, we'll give you another.
Yeah, those are bonus.
Yeah,
for your
and
good
there's
work.
bonuses for it.
Yeah, for being good. I mean, basically for being a good official, that's what your bonus is. You get to do a playoff game, which probably pays more. I'm guessing.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think there's an actual bonus structure in there.
Right. Anyway, I feel like there's got to be. I mean, they're going to review everything at the end of the season, but I don't know if anything will change, right? They always say, oh, well, now we're going to put an emphasis on this, and it never seems to do anything,
Well, they put an emphasis on taunting earlier this season.
Well, they did.
That's just gone away.
And
no one cares anymore.
And if Cam Akers didn't get a taunting call in the game where after the collision with Buda Baker,
that was interesting.
Then I don't know what a taunting call looks like. I mean,
I don't think him being injured should put more of an emphasis on a taunting call. I think it's a taunting call regardless. So if you wouldn't call that if Buda just hopped right up, then you shouldn't call it now.
It wouldn't have had the optics that it had if he wasn't laying on the ground. You don't walk right next to him and strut by him. It is my point. I mean, if he's up and doing that and you strut by him or bump into him or do whatever, and then it looks like it looks better. I guess that doesn't sound right, but the guy's hurt, and he didn't know he was hurt probably when it first happened. That's my guess, is that he didn't know that he was severely hurt. He just knew that he was down for a minute.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you could tell when you watch the play, you can see his arm, and you're like, the minute it happened, I yelled, I go, he's out. He's just out. So
yeah,
anyway.
he should have been a little more heads up, but
yeah, but he got
a lot of adrenaline going.
That's true, and that's the thing, is that football's one of those sports where these guys are driven to be competitive, more than any other sport, I think. So be physical, and I don't know. So the taunting thing, I don't know why they're enforcing that this year to begin with. I don't feel like it's a big deal. I mean, it's the NFL. If you can't handle the taunt, then you shouldn't be here probably.
But you don't like it when Tom Brady does it late.
I don't like it when anybody taunts anybody, because it wouldn't happen on my team, but it's part of the game. So if it's going to be part of the game, then you have to be bigger than that, because if you taunt back, that's when you get in trouble.
Yeah.
So just let it go. But most guys can't do that because they got this bravado in the NFL that you can't disrespect.
It's why you draft them, is because they are high competitors. If you want guys with a cool head, you get punters. If you want angry, violent guys who have a heavy competitive edge, they look like defensive ends and they talk a lot of trash.
I've seen a couple punters. Anyway,
I've seen Johnny Hecker talk some crap,
right?
And Bobby Wagner scared the crap out of him.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you're right. I don't know. Just let the taunting go. Just let it be.
They did. They did late in the season.
Yeah, there's no reason to start calling. Well, they don't want the game. I don't want a game to be decided because someone was taunting. That's the whole NBA approach to. We don't want to decide the game with a whistle. That's dumb.
I think they were fortunate enough that no game was decided early in the season, but they definitely called some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'd like to see them review penalties, certain penalties. I'd like to see that reviewable. Holding is not one of those things we should be reviewing because it happens on every play. But I think that if a coach wants to challenge whether that's pass interference, he should be allowed to. That should be a thing.
The reason I don't like that is because they did this and they don't change their mind because they're stubborn.
Well,
and there's no penalty for being wrong.
Right. That's the thing, is that you're gonna have to penalize the referees at some point.
If they make a bad call, they need to be either financially reprimanded or I don't know. There's got to be a way to do it. If there's no penalty for being wrong, what's to stop them from caring?
Right. Maybe it should just be by fan vote. Hey, here's the review.
Asking for personal drive. At that point. Personal pride.
Here's the review. Here's the replay. Just everyone vote. Push your button.
They probably could, and we would get it right. The general fan. Problem is that a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans have phones.
Well, also
that's an issue.
But also a lot of San Francisco 49er fans have phones. So
yeah, I know, but I think you're just going to run into the NBA All-Star issue here. So you're going to get a bunch of people voting for things as trolls and whatnot, and you're just like, what is going on?
That's true.
I don't think you should ever leave anything to the fans. I don't think any of us are nearly smart enough to officiate a game.
Maybe
you.
Maybe there should be a select committee on penalties. One representative from every team, and they get to review it. And then anyway, there is. That's, by the way, there's a rules committee. But anyway, they don't have anything to do with the rules during the season. It's only after the season's over.
Yeah, they set the rules for the upcoming season and sit back.
Yeah, and then
they review it.
And then they go, oh, that was terrible. Let's change that.
That did not work. Let's try something different.
Right. And that seems like that's what they do every year. It was a good idea, but it didn't work. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I just think that they could fix something with the refereeing, because you see it more and more often. And then what happened with the Dallas Cowboy game, and then the fans are throwing stuff on the field at referees, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you got Dak Prescott saying that,
That's a trash.
hey, good job. And I'm like, whoa, wait, you can't say that either, can you? And then, of course, you got to walk it back. I mean, it's what you want to say.
He wasn't allowed to. His PR guy said, Dak, no.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so good.
What are you doing?
you might want to rethink that. Yeah. So let's talk about Novak Djokovic, shall we?
Let's talk about him.
He got escorted from Australia.
It's a very interesting thing. I always wondered how people get, all right,
deported.
So I know how people get deported in our country, and it's not very glorious looking.
No.
But I wonder how Australia does it. Like, is he in a nice hotel, or because he's a celebrity? Like, how are they treating him? Like,
no,
I don't know. It's just strange.
So the story was that he's in like a $100 a night hotel. It's like a refugee hotel. But I mean, $100 a night doesn't sound like it's cheap.
I'm looking for like a $50 a night hotel when I'm on the road.
Right. Yeah.
And he's complaining about $100 a night.
The kind with the vibrating bed. Yeah. Anyway,
the heart-shaped vibrating bed.
Right. But this is what got me. If you watch the video that this picture up here in the corner is taken from, if you watch the video of him at the airport walking through, there's guys trying to stop the photographer from taking a picture. I said, it's Novak Djokovic. We know what he looks like.
Yeah,
why are you worried about? You can't film him right now while he's leaving the country. Whatever.
It's an intimate moment, right? I mean, like, it's a moment. There's like a lot of emotion and stuff like that.
Well, he's not
last thing, his PR guy wants for him to get upset.
Yeah, but see, he's not trying to stop him. It's the other guys who are trying to stop him.
PR guys. PR guys saying these are bad pictures to have exist of him being escorted out of the country. Not that people don't know it.
Right.
People will forget the story, but the pictures will pop up over and over again. If there are no pictures and the story gets forgotten, then the whole thing gets forgotten eventually.
Right. Well, so he's also
what do the bros say? Pixar, it didn't happen.
Right. He also so in case anybody who didn't follow this, and if you don't know who Novak Djokovic is, should we start there? I don't know. If you're watching this, you probably know. But defending Australian Open champion on the men's side, and he thought he had an exemption to the Australian rules, the vaccination rules.
They're really strict down there.
Yeah. Well, and
they're
they've
more
been
strict than most places.
And that's part of what the court said is why his appeal was denied. Basically, was that the court said that, hey, what you're risking is all of the citizens who have been under extreme measures, lockdown, and others, forced to vaccinate and lockdown. If you let this guy come in and just do what he wants, you're risking, substantial civil unrest.
Sure.
Which I get.
Send a message. Yeah.
Right. So they did, and then they did the right thing. If that's what the rules are, if that's what the rule is, you're supposed to. Then absolutely, there's no question. You don't. I mean, why would you get an exemption for a tennis player? I mean, because he's going to bring in money to the. I mean, you're still going to have the tennis tournament because there's plenty of them that are vaccinated. Why aren't you vaccinated? Because he may not be allowed to play in the French Open now because France just passed a law that says if you're going to go into a stadium or in a venue, you have to be vaccinated. You have to show proof.
Yeah.
And so he may not.
And he has a New York trip that's in jeopardy too, because New York has very tight restrictions.
And New York is where the U.S. Open is later. So
he's stressing about it. Apparently,
he's going to have to do something differently. But he's a hero in Serbia. So,
well, everyone's a hero in Serbia. doesn't mean anything.
Anybody who's ever hit a tennis ball is probably a hero in Serbia.
Yeah, I don't know if he should be. I mean, whether or not, like, it's one thing, you're traveling around the country, you're going to different places, you're going to different people's rules. So with that in mind, yeah, you kind of got to know that. I don't believe in religious exemptions for vaccinations, but I also don't believe that people should be necessarily forced to get them. I think it should be, if you're in the medical field, you should be forced. If you're in any customer facing position, you should be forced, which is the majority of the workforce. But I mean, outside of that, I don't believe. If you work from home, I don't care if you get vaccinated. Just please don't come out in public. Just be responsible when you do. So I don't know how I feel about that. But when you're going to other people's countries and you know their rules, and you're just trying to ride this bogus exemption that you have,
right?
I don't have any sympathy for you. Sorry, dude.
So let me ask you this question, which is what I was gonna ask eventually, was that should athletes be required to get vaccinated? I mean, I know there's all these. We kind of forget that athletes are humans and that they have religious beliefs and they have political beliefs.
Right. And
we kind of lose sight of that because they're in uniform or they're doing their thing, and that's the only time we ever see them. We just don't see them doing other things. Do they have? Should it be mandatory for those athletes, just in general, to have a vaccine. They're going to be around other people to get vaccinated because they're going to be around other people. They're going to be around. I mean, they're going to be in a stadium with however many thousands of people. Shouldn't that be a thing? I mean, just from the safety standpoint, if you're going to make people in the stands wear a mask, right, and show proof of vaccination or a negative test to get into the stadium, shouldn't the athletes have the same requirement?
You know, I'm tough on it because last year or every couple of years they do the NBA Africa thing where they travel to Africa, and one of the things they have to show is their vaccination for dengue fever. Every time.
Yep.
They've never said a word. LeBron James has never spoken about it. Joel Embiid has never spoken about it. No one has had any problem with it. So people are losing. There have already been like all sorts of people who've pulled up the information and stated like there are no religious exemptions. Nowhere in any of these things does it say these things. Like it's not real, except for the Amish. The Amish are actually one of the only few that have like actual words in their scripture about it. But Mennonite people, I mean, am I right? But yeah, I don't think you should necessarily be required, but I don't think it should be necessarily easy on you.
Right.
There's a reason why you make a lot more money than I don't make $1 million to go to work. You do. And the reason why you do is because you're in the public image. All right. That always gets overlooked. People go, oh, well, they're humans. They're humans who make $1 million to be in the public image. Like they're getting paid, they're getting compensated for the scrutiny. Otherwise they wouldn't. If everyone was just happy about athletes all the time and no one took them specially and no one cared, no one would go to games and it wouldn't matter and they wouldn't get paid $1 million. So they get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. They sign $1 billion lifetime contracts, LeBron. And in response, you have social obligations. So I would say that they should be strongly encouraged to be vaccinated, but if they're not, you just need to undergo some serious testing and quarantining. Like it needs to be legit. It needs to have an oversight committee on it. LeBron James needs to be locked in a hotel room for 5 days at a minimum before his game. This doesn't work because you play games every 2-3 days, but it needs to be that way. And you need to be tested 2-3 times a day.
He is the one that was vocal about the process, the NBA's process.
Yeah. And that's the issue.
We talked about that. And when you're complaining about having a chartered jet take you home. I think you're on a different level than the rest of us.
Again, you want me to look at you as human, and you do all these inhuman things, these not normal things,
right?
But you want me to have sympathy. It just doesn't work that way. I have sympathy for my friends, and if they start making millions of dollars or in the public eye, I'm going to have less sympathy for them if they're doing something like a sport or whatever,
right?
Especially if they're being idiots about it. So,
sure.
But the religious exemption thing in particular, I think is hot garbage, and it's all political or fear, one of the two. So either you believe one conspiracy or you don't, or you're just afraid to do it, which I mean, actually I get that one more than anything else. If you are afraid to get the vaccine because you don't know what's in it, fair, but you don't know what the fuck is in your milk.
Right.
You don't know all the chemical compounds of your milk. What makes you think if somebody sat down and explained to you the chemical compound of the vaccine virus, you would understand that?
Right.
So it's above everyone's comprehension unless you're a scientist or a doctor.
Right.
So I just feel like that's where people lose me.
And the other thing you hear that people commonly say is, well, you can't force me to do things, right? You can't. I don't like the fact that you're mandating it or forcing me to do it.
We're a big country on freedom.
And I would stop every NFL player and say, hey, do you have to wear a helmet on the field?
Oh yeah, you don't have a problem with.
You don't have a problem with that.
Doesn't want to.
Yeah, you don't have a problem with that because why? I mean, it's protection, it's safety. That's the first reason, right? You don't want to get your head hit and ruin your career, but you're not willing to protect yourself or other people by getting vaccinated. I'm confused by that dilemma. And then the NFL says you have to wear a helmet. It is mandated. And so you're doing stuff all the time.
Your body,
Yeah, I don't want you to tell me what to do with my body, but you must wear a helmet and shoulder pads. Oh, okay.
Those are the same people down another rabbit hole, but those are the same pro-life people. Don't tell me what to do with my body.
Right, yeah, don't tell me. Anyway.
Yeah, it gets tough right there. But I just don't. I think Djokovic is, he's getting what he deserves. I think Australia did the right thing, and I think if you go to a place and they're not going to put up with your crap, they don't have to. Move along. See you later, dude. Go to Serbia and have a great time.
I like that, and I hope someone said that. We're not going to put up with your crap.
We're not going to put up with your crap, Joker.
Get out. I don't know if that's how it went down, but I'm hoping that's how it went down.
I really hope, except with an Australian accent.
Right. We need an Australian.
There's a mate at the end there. We're not going to put up with your crap, mate.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple NFL things real quick. Ben Roethlisberger may have played his last. Well, we assume he did. I still haven't heard that he's never come out and said he's retiring. Right.
That's how he wants
So,
it.
but I mean, I still haven't heard him say I'm done. But he's probably played his last game. And then Mike Tomlin said the other day, well, all options are on the table when we're looking for our next quarterback. I'm like, well, why wouldn't they be? That's a weird thing to say, right?
You don't have to tell me that.
Right, because I mean, yeah, it could be, your backup guy. What's it, Mason Rudolph?
Mason Rudolph.
It could be a guy in the draft.
Helmet catcher.
Yeah, it could. It could be a draft guy. It could be a trade, right? I mean, any of those things. You're right. It's possible. I don't understand why you needed to tell us.
First round pick. They just already got rid of their first round picks. They get into the playoffs, so they gave it to the Raiders to kick that field goal.
It was, it was a great statement about nothing, is what it was. And I'm like, wow, that's really helpful, Mike. Thanks, because
like 90% of NFL press conferences.
We had no idea that you'd look everywhere for a quarterback.
Really?
Yeah. So that's weird. And then Houston fired their head coach. He was the next one.
That was interesting.
Next domino, and he's only been there a season, and a season without Deshaun Watson, and some other injuries, and the team goes 4-13. I feel like if you were only going to hire him for the season, if he knew that going in, then he's more man than I am. I wouldn't have taken that job. But if he didn't know that going in, if you didn't tell him, hey, it's only going to be for a year and then we're going to find someone else, then what are you doing? Because why are you going to fire the guy that you just promoted to head coach and you're not even going to give him a chance to be successful? That's dumb. I mean,
yeah, they did it to Chip Kelly. They've done it to a couple other people. Or San Francisco did to Chip Kelly. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if they know that they're on a 1-year deal.
Right.
I don't know if that's the case, because I don't think they are. I think they have a longer contract, but I don't know if it's a backroom talk like, hey, we're only bringing you in for a year. This is your chance. Show up, do some good, and then you'll find another job. And this gives us a full year to start poking and prodding candidates ahead of time.
It's just
and see how Deshaun Watson resolves itself. Yeah. So, but I think in the Chip Kelly instance, they hired him because they thought he was going to be the next big thing. And then a little bit of fan pressure one season, and then they just kind of like, oh, somebody's coming available. I got to get rid of this guy. So I think they just kind of hosed him on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of tough. I don't like that they fired him, but maybe he knew, maybe he didn't. And if he did, that's makes sense. I mean, that's good for him.
You know what we didn't do, and I skipped right over it, was the trivia question.
Trivia question.
And so now that we're talking about the NFL, back to the NFL topic, let me ask the trivia question before we talk about our last couple things. So the Stone, how do we want to phrase it? The Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stone Wine Estates. There we go.
That's the one.
It's just too long.
Nailed it.
I nailed it. Yeah, that's what I did. Is this? There's 4 teams left in the AFC, right? This year?
Yep.
1 from each division.
Ooh.
Okay. When was the last time an AFC championship game had 2 teams from the same division?
Ooh.
So I'll give you a clue that the NFC, it was 2013. Seattle and San Francisco played. For
the AFC.
What about the AFC? When was the last time the AFC had 2 teams from the same division playing for the AFC championship?
Damn, Broncos Chiefs is making me think like in 2015 was Patrick Mahomes on the scene yet? But I don't know.
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
So there's that. Anyway, so the other things that I don't know what else we were going to talk about. So let me go back. Let's talk about the Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
The Oregon Duck men's basketball team pulled off a shocking weekend, let's call it. I mean, Oregon was supposed to be really good at the beginning of the season and then lost a whole bunch of games and looked bad for a while, I'll be honest. Oregon goes down to UCLA on Thursday and wins 84-81 in overtime against the number 3 ranked Bruins. Follows that up on Saturday with a 79-69 win over number 5 ranked USC. Knocked off the top 2 teams in the Pac-12 back-to-back on the road. And I don't remember the last time any NCAA basketball team beat the number 3 and number 5 teams on the road in the same weekend. That, as far as I can remember, might never have been done. But
I thought I read that it was the first time in history.
Yeah,
that somebody beat two consecutive road top 5 teams.
Yeah, I don't know that's ever happened. I've seen somebody do it at home, but I've never seen anybody do it on the road. So interesting. Yeah, so that was something that's never happened, and I was counting out the Oregon Ducks. We weren't even covering them much because this was a 8-6 basketball team before they won those 2 games.
We're not playing very good.
And it was not playing very good. I mean, let's
I feel
be
like we
honest.
should know this about Dana Altman teams, is that they turn
Every
around
year.
eventually.
Every year.
Every year.
This happens every year, not to this extent. Normally they start out with this ranking, mid, 10, 12, 15, and they go up after they win a few games, and then they fall. They do this every year, but usually it's only 2 or 3 games or 4 games they lose, and this is 6 games, I mean, that's a lot of games to have lost at this point. And now they do this, and all of a sudden you go, wow, now they're playing together and they're healthy, and clearly they're better, as good, if not better, than any of the other teams in the Pac-12. So, they're going to have to fight their way to the top. They've only lost two Pac-12 games, so they still have a really good chance to be, Pac-12 champions. 4 losses, man. It's 18 games. You 14-4, 90% of the time wins the Pac-12. So yeah.
I'm just not sure if there's going to be more postponements. There've already been a lot of postponements this year, and that could throw a wrench into everything.
And their next game against Washington State has already been postponed. Oregon and Washington State's already, so who knows? And the NCAA women's side has had, the Pac-12 has had so many postponements that they're talking about it costing the Pac-12 tournament bids at the end of the season. Because
at least one team's getting in.
They won't, but they won't have played very many games. There's no body of work to discuss if you're not Stanford. Anyway,
I feel like you could pretty much just put the teams who you put Stanford in, put Oregon in, and put Arizona in. You'd be fine. That's good enough. They're the ones who are going to probably end up there if there was a full slate anyway. So,
yeah,
I mean that's who always ends up there.
Right. We'll have to see. Because it's one of those things where if you don't have enough games, if you can't finish your conference season, our other teams is a team that's 24-7 in another conference, this team is 12-3, but that's all the games they could play. We're gonna let them in. Ooh,
were they good wins?
That's gonna
did they win tough games?
And that's the thing. You're gonna have to weigh it, but without the body of work of the conference schedule, and not being a conference champion, you don't have any automatic bids. So if you're not the conference, what are they going to do? Just whoever's leading at this point is the conference champion. You're automatically in. But if you don't have,
that's kind of an interesting thing.
Automatic bids are a thing. So if you don't have an automatic bid, then we don't have to let you in. I don't know. It seems weird, but it's.
I don't think they're going to keep them out as much as the speculation is right now. I think that they'll still end up with 2-3 teams in there, especially when you got Oregon beating UConn.
Right.
So that was a big weekend for Ducks basketball.
Yeah, no, it was huge. It was an absolutely huge thing.
A great picture of Kyler.
Yeah, that one. So
hey,
there you go.
Randy Savage. My voice almost sounds like that today. Sounds super raspy.
You can get that. This is the best picture I could find of him. So
that's a great picture,
right? The sunglasses are what do it. His outfits are always that way, but I think it's the glasses.
Because otherwise he's just a guy with a crazy suit and a beard.
Which he kind of always was.
No, he's a superstar.
It's not. He's always been a guy with a crazy beard.
You think he was like sitting in like the dressing room trying things on? He's like, I like this. I'm like, something's missing. Here, put these on. They put on the glasses. I'm like,
right?
There it is.
There it is. Not
over the top.
The hand wraps that are whatever. I'm
pretty sure this is how 80s hair metal people dressed.
Right.
So.
Well, kind of, yeah. I even think this is more outlandish than that, which is weird. It's the cowboy hat that makes it more outlandish because they would have let their hair show.
That's at least a 30-gallon cowboy hat.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
That's good stuff right there. Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, it's funny because I was thinking last night about if there was anything, and I could not think of anything. There was nothing significant that happened over the last weekend and things like that in sports that made me want to talk about it. So, no, unfortunately, I am tapped out on it.
Okay.
And also, I've got, sick brain, so my head's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job for being sick.
Trying.
I'm going to give you...
The water is helping. I drank a whole entire, 32 ounces of water.
Give you a solid B for the day. So,
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. So let's go back to the trivia question, which I just said. Gosh, it irks me that I didn't get it in when I wanted to get it in. I've got it all written down in order of what I want to talk about, and I just skipped right over it. Like I have no idea.
That's part of the fun.
I mean,
We're winging it.
Yep. So, trivia question. If you didn't hear it, the Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Save and Stone Wine Estates. So, I guess I got to get the ad in before I do the trivia question, right?
Sounds good.
We should. So, Save and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River is the sponsor of the Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question. Go to the winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, or go downtown to the tasting room at 210 Oak Street. You can call them 541-946-3750 for reservations or more information. That's 541-WINE-750, or you can email them info@stavenstone.com. It's fantastic. The wine is good. The people are nice. Go and have a taste. If you're in Hood River, stop by, or if you're driving through, it's a great place to stop by, take a load off, and you'll enjoy yourself. Anyway, Save and Stone, wines with personality. So that's our trivia question sponsor. So trivia question was, what was it? There are 4 teams left in the AFC, one from each division. When was the last time an AFC championship game had 2 teams from the same division?
So I threw out a potential Broncos Chiefs, but I don't think Patrick Mahomes was there yet.
Right.
In like 2015.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to think about who is in the playoffs a lot.
Right.
From the AFC and who was constantly there. And wild card matchups are sticking out. So I'm going to go with the Bengals because Marvin Lewis? What is his name?
Marvin Lewis was the Bengals head coach.
Marvin Lewis was in the playoffs every year. I don't want to call him Marvin Harrison. That's weird.
But they had to make it to the AFC Championship game, not just the playoffs.
Oh,
this is the AFC Championship game. Had 2 teams from the same division.
Lost sight.
Yeah.
So
let's go with. This is bigger.
Well, maybe it was still. I'm gonna go with Bengals. Baltimore's not been great for a while. Browns sucked. I'm going with Bengals Steelers.
Okay, which is a great guess. Although that's never happened. So the answer is 1999. Well, it was the 99-2000 season. So the 99 season, the playoffs. This game happened in January 23rd of 2000. Tennessee Titans 33, Jacksonville Jaguars 14.
Interesting.
So it's been 21 years, almost 22. It's been 22 since that's happened, and it won't happen this year either. So yeah, it's been a while, and I'm sitting here looking back at prior seasons to that, trying to see if it happened. When was the last time it happened before that? And I will tell you, it is 1985.
Nice.
The Patriots and the Dolphins was the time before that. So it hasn't happened very often, but as you go back a little further, it happens more often. Then there was Raiders Seahawks. They were in the same division. Raiders Chargers. They were in the same division. It's happened before on numerous occasions. Broncos Raiders back in 77. But yeah, it's been a while since it's happened. So this year, and it's funny because I would have thought it would have happened this year with the AFC West being fairly loaded. But
well, I mean, just the Chargers and the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders
the Chiefs
ended up being Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. But partway through the season, we thought they were going to get 3 teams in, for sure.
Yeah, and they only ended with 2.
And they only ended with 2, and one of them is out already. So anyway, there's that.
They could have had 3 in, but they chose not.
And then, see, I forget to do the answer, which is the video, so everybody can see the picture of 1999. Well, it's 2000, and Steve McNair. And by the way, it was Jeff Fisher, not the one from American Dad, but this one.
Nice.
Yeah. Was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And in case you're wondering what year that was the year that this happened, and they were a yard short. More like 3/4 of a yard short of winning the Super Bowl.
Dang.
So, yeah, that was that. That was also the year of the what was it called? The Miracle, the Nashville, was that what it's called? What was it called? Music City Miracle.
Music City Miracle.
Yep,
That's one.
in the first round where they beat Buffalo.
Dang.
So, anyway, there's that. All right. That's all. That's all I got for the day. I know, right?
It was a good day.
It was a good day. So that's all we have for today. I'm going to do this. No, maybe I'm not.
Do what?
Am I going to do this?
Yep.
I'm going to do that. About that loud? Is that right?
Sounds good.
That feels good. I like this music. This is better than what we had before.
I like the
outro music. It's this part of it. Anyway. All we have for today, we're going to be back next week on the 26th, Wednesday the 26th, with more NFL playoff coverage. We'll cover the divisional round. We're going to talk about the NHL and the NBA, finally, and probably more college basketball, because that's what's happening. And anything else of news and notes that we can find that's interesting. Spanish tournament take place?
It's too much.
It's way too long. Anyway, so we'll talk about all that and more. Again, we're streaming on YouTube every week. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook at Lamb Sports Show. You can email us, lambsports@gmail.com. I want to thank ESPN, NFL.com, the NCAA, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, our sponsors, the Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stevenson Wine Estates in River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media LLC. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.